So I've been doing a series of videos to give you the best options that we have to use black frame insertion, OLED Motion Pro on these LG OLEDs. And of course the problem is the brightness. It looks too dark. So we're trying to get the brightest picture possible. So even if you don't want to use black frame insertion, these settings are going to be eye-searing, okay? But I do not recommend these settings if you are not using black frame insertion because it will be too bright, okay? But some people like that. Some people want the brightest picture possible. Give it to me, bro. So I'm gonna give it to you. So this is working on the PC, okay? Because we are using the Windows 11 SDR HDR slider, okay? So this is for PC only, but it works for every single game, okay? Every single game, all of them are going to work with these settings. So now I'm going to use dynamic tone mapping, and you might say, man, dynamic tone mapping, that's easy, that's bright enough, no problem at all, like that's an easy solution. Not that easy. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here. So all we have to do is we turn on HDR on Windows and we max out the SDR HDR slider. So now that slider has absolutely no effect on native HDR games, and it does not have any effect on auto HDR supported games. But it does have an effect on all SDR content on Windows, including the games we open on SDR. Okay, so we are taking advantage of that SDR HDR slider. And what that slider is doing is basically max CLL 498. So what is that? Max CLL means the brightness that the content is trying to output. Okay, the maximum peak brightness that the content is trying to output. So on these LG OLEDs, we have the fantastic option of selecting the tone mapping that we want for the TV. By coming here to this secret menu, 11131111. So here we can select mastering peak and max CLL to match what the content is doing. And this works for dynamic tone mapping on and dynamic tone mapping off. So what we want is we want to use this trick for black frame insertion. We can use it with dynamic tone mapping on, and without black frame insertion, we can use it for tone mapping off. And they look very good, similar, near black. Very, very, very similar near black, because dynamic tone mapping is going to boost the near black brightness. But now, they are going to have a different setting on the black level. So I'm gonna show you now. So I have reduced light now because I'm going to sleep. But I do not use that because that's going to affect the colors. I'm not gonna play now. So you see right now I have OLED Motion Pro High. Okay? You can use medium if you like it a little bit brighter, but yeah, when I go for motion clarity, I am all in. But medium is a very good option because you get up to 400 nits highlights, which is still give you some of the HDR impact. So I'm using OLED Motion Pro High. So then what we have to do here is come to brightness and lower this screen brightness or black level to 38 for dynamic tone mapping, or to 41 for tone mapping off. Okay, so you can do 41 tone mapping off and do no black frame insertion. You see the difference on the picture? See, it is brighter, of course, a little bit brighter, but near black they are very close, very close. So you see, for black frame insertion, we can use dynamic tone mapping on, but then we have to lower this screen brightness to 38. So now, how do I know that? Just by looking at the game? No. I am using a near black test pattern that I'm going to share with you, so you can double check this on your own TV, because you might have a CX and it might be different, okay? Or maybe there is a difference from panel to panel. Even if you have a C1 or you have a G1, there's a slightly difference on the number. So I'm gonna share with you this near black test pattern that I'm gonna be using on this game, and I'm also gonna to show you Cyberpunk. So this is Thymesia, by the way, my favorite gameplay ever, no question. Sekiro and Thymesia, but I think I like this one more. It's just fantastic gameplay. The game is too short. Otherwise, this would be my number one game ever. Absolutely amazing, the gameplay. But yeah, that's beside the point. So let me show you this near black test pattern. So hopefully the camera is adjusting the ISO so you can see this. So on this near black test pattern, what we want is to count 10 columns starting from the right. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns. Okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to change from dynamic tone mapping. I am going to change. Actually, let me turn off black frame insertion so this near black test pattern is more visible on the recording. Okay, with black frame insertion off now, you can see it more clearly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns counting from the right. This is a near black test pattern you can download using the link on the description. I have it uploaded on my Google Drive. And this was created by the user, a Cynical Creator. Okay, he created this near black test patterns on Paint, and he shared that with all of us, which is very, very good. They are very, very, very good near black test patterns. So now if I change to off, and I change this screen brightness to 41, take a look at the near black test pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So now I like a lot this near black test pattern because if I change the value in one single click, you will see that this is gonna change. So for example, let's say I change it to 42. Now let's take a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? 11 columns. So that's not, we want 10 columns. So you might think, okay, I understand how to get the value. I understand how to get, 10 columns being visible. But how do you know that we're supposed to see 10 columns? So let me show you the entire near black test pattern. So you might ask me, how do you know that we are only supposed to see 10 columns counting from the right? The explanation is very simple. We want to double limit the black level. So what I did was I forced limited range over full. So I forced limited. The entire near black test pattern is visible still. Why? Because all SDR content on Windows is limited. Okay? So now I see how that looks, and what I do is the following. I come here, go back to full. This is what I do. I go back to full range or auto, because the NVIDIA control panel, I have auto. And then what I do is I lower the screen brightness or black level until I get the same result. Look at the near black test pattern. In 46, it looks exactly the same as if I force limited. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to force limited. So you come here, black level, limited. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns counting from the right. So what I am doing here is I am double limiting the black level. That's how I know. So now you do not want to force limited because this is going to affect the whites. And you do not want to affect the whites. So you go back to full. And what you do is you lower that screen brightness to double limit the black level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? That's what you want. So how do I know that the games are double limited and all of that? That was explained to me by the user Jova Must Die. So I realized that, about this black level rays and the games, and I even gave the settings, just force limited, lower the in-game peak brightness or lower the black level. So I detected that problem. And this user, he reached out to me and he explained me why. And I made a video about it. And of course I give him the credit because he gave me a very good explanation. And he's somebody who seems very knowledgeable about this stuff. I'm talking about formulas and numbers and calculations knowledgeable, okay? One of those people that that they either know a lot or they are crazy, okay? And I think he knows a lot. He's not crazy. So yeah, he was the one who explained me that. So basically I detected this issue with native HDR games that you need to limit the black level. But then when he explained me how this worked, then I come out with this SDR HDR trick. Because I said, okay, if the SDR games are double limited when you open them with HDR on Windows, then this is all we have to do. So that's how I figured out these settings. And I can figure out these settings on any TV. Any TV. It's not gonna take me any time because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I just need the option to have black level control on the TV and hopefully have some tone mapping options. Otherwise, you're not gonna get the maximum peak brightness of that given display. But luckily with these LG OLEDs, we do have those tone mapping options. So give it a try and let me know what you think about it, if you like it. So I've been doing this series of videos giving you options to use black frame insertion because this is the way I play most of the games, especially this game. I love to play this game with black frame insertion. So let's take a look at it. We're gonna use dynamic tone mapping here. Boom, it looks very bright. Okay, so those are the settings. Screen brightness 38, dynamic tone mapping on, mastering peak max CLL 540. And for the rest of the settings, of course, do not use this blue light. Again, I'm not gonna play anything right now, I'm just going to sleep. And I'm using color depth 55, auto detect, and the white balance in warm 50. That's it. Those are all the settings. So I am still working. Let me show you my face. So I'm still working to get the best settings for native HDR games with black frame insertion. And for those settings, I'm going to do a 22-point calibration for HDR, which is tough. It's tough, especially when you have to lower the black level. There's a lot of issues of doing that. There are near black chrominance overshoots, a lot of challenges to calibrate the near black on native HDR for black frame insertion. So I'm still working on it. And what I'm going to be targeting for native HDR is medium, OLED Motion Pro medium, which is the same level of brightness loss that you get on the LG C2, G2, C3, G3. Or on the CX medium also works. Which, by the way, I have an update for the motion clarity of the LG CX. I've been working with Gaming Tech. He has been doing some measurements of brightness. So with that and the Talbot Plateau's law, I can determine exactly what's going on with the LG CX. So that's coming, okay? That's coming soon. We're still working on it. So, what was I saying? Okay, what I was saying is that I'm trying to calibrate native HDR to use black frame insertion with OLED Motion Pro medium, and the reason is, if we're going to use native HDR, I want to get more brightness, and with OLED Motion Pro medium, we are cutting the brightness in half. So you can still get 400 nits, and if you have 400 nits peak brightness, which is it's good, it's not like HDR fantastic, but it still gives you some HDR impact. And because it is native HDR, you are going to get more details on bright objects. You're going to get more details, more information on the screen, more colorful picture with the wider color gamut. So I'm going to do that, but that's tough. That's tough. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. More options to still get, the best picture quality we can with black frame insertion. And of course, I will try to also get a good result for OLED Motion Pro High on the C1 with native HDR. Okay, so also I'm gonna give you the options with Auto HDR from Windows 11 to use black frame insertion. It's gonna be another video. And yeah, there's a lot coming. There's a lot coming because I'm also going to partner with TKK, all about TKK. So he reached out to me and he said, hey, let's do something together. He has all the TVs. So we're gonna be learning a lot, okay? I'm talking about Samsung S95C, LG G3. I think he also have a Sony, he has a Sony A95K. So we're going to, there's a lot of settings coming, okay? Because I'm going to learn a lot from those TVs. And he has a C1 too, that we can have as a reference to me, because I know exactly the settings on the LG C1 and how they look. So we can compare all the TVs with the settings and with the tweakings that I've been figuring out through this past year. And let's see what settings we can figure it out. I have a lot of plans. And a lot of things that I'm already trying to figure it out. You see that the LG I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna finish with this. You see that the LG G3 on Game Optimizer mode, the colors go down the toilet. So that those colors to match the QD OLED or try to get there, they are not there on Game Optimizer mode, because that color boosting algorithm, it seems like it requires a small amount of processing. I don't think so, to be honest. That's just a shenanigan from LG, but I'm just gonna accept that, yeah, maybe there is some processing behind it. I believe that's LG's middle finger to gamers again. But anyway, what I'm trying to figure it out already, I'm trying to think, how can we get those colors back with some killer settings on Game Optimizer mode? And we have the S95C as a reference. So if we can get those colors back with some killer settings, I'm gonna be very, very happy with that. So that's what I'm already thinking about. How can we get those colors back on Game Optimizer mode? So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. If you have any questions, these settings are fantastic because, I never show you Cyberpunk. I think I have it here. Let me show you this before we finish. Same thing here with Cyberpunk. Let me turn off the lights. Same thing here. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, no. Let me see what's going on. Oh, I have a preset here on Cyberpunk because I was raising the black level with reshade. So now I turn off that preset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns, counting from the right. And you can see how the game looks. It looks the same as when I use Auto HDR and lower screen brightness to 46, or when I use the native HDR and lower screen brightness to 46, or fine-tune dark areas -16, because this game has the black level raised. So yeah, these settings work for every single game on the PC. It looks fantastic. It allows you to use black frame insertion. So give it a try and see how you like it. If you ask me, but bro, which are the best settings? I will do a ranking at the end. I'm still figuring out all the options. After I figured out all the options, I'm going to do a summary video, and I'm gonna tell you, in my opinion, this is the absolute best way to use black frame insertion. This is number 2, this is number 3, this is number 4. This works for every single game. This only works for native HDR games. This works for auto HDR on the PC. This works for every single console. I will do that at the end after I figure out all the options. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions, and